Hey guys, welcome back to the Blade Bloodhound. Tonight we're going to look at a knife I purchased, actually it was last night. I went and bought some knives from a collection. I saw this one while I was there, and they had two of them, and they said they'd part with one, so I bought one of them. But anyway, the reason I bought this one is kind of a crazy story. Well, not that crazy, but sort of crazy. When I was young, you could not get switchblade knives. You know, a lot of people know that. Now they're kind of common. You can order them and they'll ship them right to your house. And anyway, so back then though, you couldn't get them. You had to be, you know, military, police, all that good stuff. So I would always look for a top lock knife. It was called a top lock, and when we get to the table, I'm going to explain this a lot more. But I just happened to be there, and I saw this one. I looked at it, and immediately I knew exactly what it was. So anyway, it was cool. I picked it up. I'll tell you why I picked it up, and I'll tell you the story about why I always wanted one of these. But it's a Boker Top Lock, and I believe this is the one made in Germany. I'll have to double check. The box, there was a box there, and I assume this was the box for it. There was two of them, and there was two sheaths, and you know, the two knives. And so what I did was, you know, she said, you know, pick the one you want, so I did. And so anyway, I thought the box was the one for it, so we got it. Anyway, cool knife. We're gonna take a look at it. Let's go over to the table now. All right, here we are. So the box, the person had a bunch of knives and they had the boxes laying around too. So I said, you know what? I believe that box goes with that one. So I said, I'm gonna get it. So they had two of these. One of them, the sheath did not have Boker on it. One of the sheaths did have Boker, and I said, you know what? I want the one that has Boker on it. So I got that sheath. But the reason I was so interested in this knife, it's, you know, not like a crazy expensive knife or anything, but when I was young, I always wanted to find a top lock knife. As you can see there, it's got a nail nick. So Boker made two knives. They made a speed lock, which was an automatic. It's got a little lanyard hole. They made a speed lock that was automatic. They made a top lock, which was, you pulled it open and this just locked it. And then to unlock the knife, you press this and you fold it back. So looking at this one, you see it has a nail nick. So the person that owned this previously did what I was going to do. When I was young, you could buy these, and the top lock had the same handle as the speed lock. So Boker did not, you know, they didn't say, hey, let's make one this way and one that way. They just made one, you know, handle. So the handle is already pre-milled for a spring. So what people would do is they would buy the top locks that had the, you know, fingernail pull to pull it out. And then they would buy a spring assembly and they would take it apart. It was already milled. You just laid the spring into place, put it back together, and you had a, ooh, about jumped out of my hand, automatic knife. So they had two of these. The other one, the spring was not as strong. So I'm assuming they bought two of the top lock knives, and then what they did was had springs put in them. You could get different tension springs. You can get some that are not as strong. This one jumps well. So anyway, I chose the one with the stronger spring because I like the stronger spring. The other one actually looked better. It had a lighter wood, which I liked it better, but I just like, whoa. See, I told you this spring is like off the chain. I'm gonna have to hold on to this thing. I cleaned it a little bit ago. Let me try that again. All right. But you can see the others. So originally, you'd open it, it would lock. You'd press the button to unlock it. But it's pretty cool. I mean, And it was, I don't know who came up with the idea, but I mean, it was pretty smart if you think about it, you know. They're like, hey, wait a minute. Why buy the automatic one when I can buy the Top Lock version, buy a spring aftermarket, and have me an automatic knife, even though I'm not supposed to have an automatic knife. So I thought that was really smart. I can't believe how that one jumps out like that. But let's take a look at the knife. So like we were saying earlier, there's the button. Now, this one is the Solingen Germany one. They made some in Argentina. They're not as good. I believe both of these were the Solingen. And I really didn't pay attention to the other one, so I don't know if it had the, because they made some of these, I believe, automatic. But you can tell because the automatic ones didn't have the fingernail pull, because you don't need it. So that's one way to tell if you've got one of these. Top Lock 2. There was a Top Lock 1 that had like 2 pieces of wood, whereas this one just had the 1 piece. It's got an aluminum handle, probably, I'm guessing 440 steel. I don't think it's marked on there, but a very, very cool knife. And a very slick knife. I'm gonna zoom back out here. A very slick knife. I mean, it's so slick that, you know, I'd wiped it down and I put a little bit of oil on the wood here, like a furniture polish, and that might not have been a wise idea, because when I pressed it, I'm gonna do it again, see what happens. When you press it, it really pops out there. So I was glad to get this, just for 2 reasons. For one, I like the automatic, and the other reason I was glad to get it was a Top Lock and not a real automatic, as far as it wasn't until someone modified it. But I think they got smart later on and started making 2 different handles because they found out people were doing it. I got a little smudge there where I was cleaning it with a knife eraser, but that'll go away after a while. You just tell where it's got a little cleaner. It had a little gook right there, and I wiped it a little hard, but it'll get back to the same color. Just play with it a little bit. Get it a little dingy again. But it was a knife back then that was easy to take apart. I mean, you know, we were all used to case knives and stuff, and they didn't have these screws. I mean, this was probably in the, if I was guessing, I would say 80s. Now, don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure. And it was just a neat thing. Everybody was like, you know, hey, buy this knife that's just a lock blade. You know, it has the same milling, the same handle. All you gotta do is buy the spring, stick it in there. I mean, it was an excellent way to get an automatic when you, I don't wanna say shouldn't have an automatic, but when you couldn't legally buy one. Cool, cool, cool piece of history. I like how that pops out there. Does really well. It's a good size knife. I'm gonna get a tape measure here. We're just gonna measure it here. 1 second. Every time I pause it, I'm like, I'm gonna end up hitting something and having to start over. And y'all know I don't like to edit and do any of that stuff. So it's a 4-inch knife. So 4 inches. The sheath is, I mean, it's nothing to write home about. One of the sheaths, like I was telling y'all earlier, didn't have Boker on it. And I said, well, I like it having Boker on it. So I got that one. And if you look at it, you see how it kind of tapers down? So this sheath was made to be like this. There's no safety on this, by the way. I mean, you gotta press hard to get it to pop. I mean, really, did you need a safety? Because it was just a lock blade that you unfolded until you modified it. I mean, it stayed locked. You'd press that button, open it, locked, press the button, close it. So it really didn't need one then. But a cool knife. I wouldn't have carried it in a sheath back then, but I remember always wanting to find one of these. And I mean, I went to Smoky Mountain Knife Works once, and we were looking everywhere. I mean, I was a kid, or sort of a kid, and me and a bunch of buddies were there, and we were looking. We're like, hey, if we can find one of those Bokers, we can make it an automatic. You know, we'd already figured out where to buy the spring, what to do. We get there, and there was none of them. Either that or they were too expensive, and we didn't buy them. I can't remember, but just a cool knife. Yep, I couldn't remember when I went to get it, because I was like, I wonder if that one was originally automatic or if it's the one that has the fingernail pull. I was pretty sure it did have the fingernail pull, but I wasn't positive. But let's see if this box does go with it. It has a model number on the box, so I could look it up and see. Maybe this will tell us at least how old it is, if I can read. So I didn't do their lifetime warranty, so I don't even know if it's still there. Maybe a different place nowadays. It don't really say. I don't see anything that shows a date. Well, maybe. Let's see. Nope, just congratulations. Call us if you need us, and this is how you do things. See how it shows you the correct way to open it? That's kind of funny. The Boker difference. Okay, disassembly of your new knife will void the warranty. So they knew people were doing this. The minimum charge to reassemble your knife is 20 bucks. Wow, for service and $5. So, I mean, they knew what people were doing. It wasn't a secret. It was a known thing in the old knife world. Everybody was converting their top lock to a automatic. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked the video. I thought it was neat. I had it down here because I was playing with it earlier, and I thought, you know what, I'll just throw that one on there. The other one had a very tight finish, and this one had a gap, but I wonder if that gap's just because whoever put it together didn't put it together too great. Or maybe they put that spring being so much stronger in there is why. But guys, like the channel, like the video, subscribe, tell your friends. Until next time, y'all have a great night. You can always email me at bladebloodhound@gmail.com.